Lami podcast. I hope everyone is doing good. I know it's been a long time since I've posted, but today I'm so excited because I'm recording this episode. And like I was like first thinking that I'll just record, like audio record it and upload it on Spotify. But then I thought of this topic, which I came across like many like times, but I like couldn't frame it properly, like what am I supposed to speak about it. But now before recording this, when I was thinking about it, I was like, okay, I can speak about it. So the topic which I'm gonna speak today is how to move on. I know this is a question like many of you might have if you've been through breakups or friendship breakups or anything in life from which you feel like you're stuck and you want to just like forget it and move forward, but you're not able to. So the other day I met my bestie and she asked me the same question, like how to move on. And at that time I paused for a moment. I was like thinking, what am I supposed to tell her to make, comfort her? But then I like realized that I know the answer because, even I have been through, phases in my life where even I felt like, how am I supposed to move on from it? But when I thought about it, you don't actually move on, you still hold that part, maybe that bad part with you, and you just go on with life. What I told her is that, when you get so busy in life, for example, like if you're going like for college or something like that, and you're so caught up, like half your day goes on traveling, and then you have assignments, homework and stuff, and you have to study. You get so busy, you don't even have time to think that, okay, I'm going through something in my life which I need to move on, but you are so busy. So, and one more thing I told her is that to just focus on yourself. And when you focus on yourself and you start, taking care of yourself, doing things for yourself, basically doing things which you enjoy and you love, you know, you are so focused on yourself, you won't think about that thing. And I also told her that you don't just need to ignore those emotions, you need to like sit with them, process those emotions, feel it to actually move on from it. And while like I was thinking about what I told her, I also remembered like many of my other friends also asked me like how to move on. Like everyone has that question. But deep down, when I think about how I moved on, I like I remember I just indulged myself into doing things I loved. I remember I started painting, I started journaling consistently, then I started doing like stuff like like I'm very creative since childhood. And I remember once I was just painting, pistachio shells. I was just painting them and I found it so fascinating. And I was like listening to music and I was painting it. And I was like happy in that moment. In that moment, I felt like I don't need anyone. So, you can just involve yourself in any activities which you like, and you won't realize that after you finish doing it, or also while you're doing it, you're like, damn, life is good, I'm happy while I'm doing this. But sometimes people who overthink, even I overthink a lot, they usually isolate themselves, and when they are alone and they spend so much time overthinking stuff, even if it's simple stuff, they make it so big. Overthinking is just making things up in your mind like into 10x, into 100x. But in reality, the issue is not that big. And I had to learn it the hard way. I mean, I had to move on from so many things, and I remember I struggled a lot in the big. It's not easy to, you can just immediately like move on from things. People like just want to get into another relationships, or find other friends, and it's not that easy. When you go through something, you have that set of emotions which you have gone through. If you have gone through a fight or something, you have that emotions in you. Until and unless you deal with that emotions, you can never truly move on. That's what I learned. And honestly, what I like keep on saying and what I believe is, if you keep on improving yourself, increasing your knowledge, doing better for yourself, and you are in that life journey, is that You don't care about what anyone or like anyone says. You are so focused on yourself, like I know about myself, like I keep on evolving myself every day by doing simple things. I may not do the task every day. Like I have started reading another book, which is a really good book, and I would recommend. The name of the book is Rich Dad and Poor Dad. And I honestly don't read that book every day, but whenever I do read it, I feel like I'm enhancing my knowledge. I am at a stage in my life where I need to learn about finances, and it's a really good book to learn, have financial literacy, and which has really helped me. And when I think about it, it's like I am evolving myself. I am, educating myself with something which will help me to become a better person and which will help me in my life. And when I'm doing that, I don't think about anyone or anything. I am focused on my life by doing things for my betterment. Even that is a way of how you move on, when you are focused on your life and you know that I have to do better for myself. And see, if you find, like, search on the internet, you may find different methods, like how to move on. If you simply Google it, or if you find some Pinterest board, do this, have this solo date, or have this self-care time and all that stuff. All those stuffs are fancy, but when it comes to real life, I'm not saying doing all the stuff and romanticizing your life and all is not good. It's great, and if you find happiness in that, it's good for you. But I think truly moving on is being a better version of you, when you know that who you were at that time and who you are now are two completely different people, two completely different versions. And when you are proud of the version of yourself who you are, that's when you know that you have truly moved on, not for anyone or not from anyone, but from that version of yourself who maybe lacked boundaries, or who was too emotional for like no reason, and with people who it wasn't necessary to be that emotional, and who was a people pleaser or whatever. I think truly moving on is knowing yourself, what you want, what you need, and not just, crying about that person or a thing or the situation. Because, see, I'm not saying crying is bad. You are allowed to feel your emotions. Even I cry a lot, and when you feel things too deeply, that means you have high emotional intelligence. As I said before, it's okay to sit with your emotions and feel them, and if you feel light, it's a great thing. But you can't just sit every day and cry about the same thing. You can't just say, okay, I mean, no, nothing is working for me, I can't move on, no, I want that person or I want that thing. That's not how things work. Whatever happened. You have to like move past through it. You have better things in life, you have better opportunities. That's what you need to look forward. You can't just sit in your room with all that stress and everything and just say, okay, nothing works out for me, I can't do anything, and this and that. You need to focus on yourself, and you need to do things which will help you to actually move on. And that's the answer to this question, what I believe. This question about moving on often comes from teenagers, but when my friend asked me this question, I realized, okay, it's not just teenagers who want to learn how to move on, but even as we grow up, we come across situations and people, and obviously we are always engaging into situations, people, friendships and everything. And for that, I think if you know yourself, if you know what you're doing and what's wrong or right for you, basically to know your true self is having all the answers. Sometimes I know, like, life moves so fast and you're caught up in so many situations. You move across places, cities and all that stuff. There's a new phase in your life, and life moves so fast, you are so confused, you don't know, like, how am I supposed to figure it out, how am I supposed to do it. You get so busy and so caught up, you don't have time to understand yourself. In that, I think journaling, because when you write down your emotions, like after a long day, you are aware about what you're going through, what phases are going on in your life. Because when I look at my journals, I like realize, okay, I was going through this, and on the next page then I write about something else. Okay, I have the answer to this. If one day was sad, another day was happy. So I always encourage through my podcast that you should start journaling, even at least, once a week. It really helps, and journaling really helps in manifestation too. So if you really want to move on, if you write it, okay, God, please help me move on, even that might work. But I hope you found this episode helpful. I tried to convey whatever I knew and what methods worked for me. So I hope this really helps you. See you guys in the next episode. Bye bye.